Hello, welcome to this week's headlines. I'm Lee Chwi Lynn. Here are the highlights. In the run-up to the UMNO General Assembly in early December, tensions in the party are mounting. It was announced that Deputy President Muhyiddin Yasin would not be officiating at the opening of the various wings, and UMNO Wanita Gopeng Chief Hamidah Osman was sacked for the flap she caused when calling for the resignation of the party's President Najib Razak. Meanwhile, across the divide and in Penang, State Organising Secretary and Tanjung Bungah Assemblyman Lee Chwi stepped down after voting for a motion tabled by the opposition, Barisan Nasional. He acknowledged his mistake, and the motion was over the issue of land reclamation. Also threatening to resurface is the case of murdered DPP Kevin Morais, with his brothers playing chief antagonists. One claims that Kevin was killed because he knew too much about powerful people under investigation for corruption. Allegations are swirling around the case, with speculation that the recently claimed body was secretly cremated, making a second autopsy impossible. But the story of the week, Air Force One, the beast, stuff, is the second coming to Malaysia of US President Barack Obama. US President Barack Obama arrived in Malaysia last Friday for a 3-day visit ahead of the 27th ASEAN and related summits here. Now, we were all very excited, some might say overexcited, to the point of being a little bit awkward. Welcome to the President of USA, Barack Obama, we declared awkwardly, see what I mean? It's Obama's second visit this year and another feather in the Prime Minister's geopolitical cap, unless of course you take this image of the PM seriously. So what was Obama's agenda? As expected, he brought his star quality to a town hall meeting with young people at Taylor's University, and hot topics might include bigging up ASEAN and its young leaders, but no prizes really for guessing that the main focus was the recently concluded multilateral trade negotiations. It's a mouthful, the TransPacific Partnership Agreement. Still, there was no end of speculation about other messages Obama would bring, including, perhaps the continued jailing of Anwar Ibrahim, corruption, and human rights. And despite his cautious delivery, some people still took exception to his statements on LGBT rights, which I just want to take an opportunity to say was really just a reiteration of his stand in his own country. I mean, if we're going to remember President Obama after this for anything, it might be that, under his tenure, Osama died, but also, the legalization of gay marriage, Obamacare, all these different things. But perhaps, when he brought it here, from the States, there were those who said it constituted an affront to the country's sovereignty. Also, the expected haters came out to protest. The local chapter of the international movement, Hizb ut-Tahrir, held protests calling Obama a terrorist and an enemy of Islam for continued US support of Israeli policies towards Palestinians. And on that note, during the third ASEAN-US summit, Obama urged world leaders to not succumb to fear posed by terrorists, making explicit reference to the attack in the Malian capital. But, speaking of ASEAN, commentators noted that despite wanting to secure his policy initiative, events in Europe and the Middle East quite understandably continued to derail his Asia-centered message. At the earlier APEC summit in Manila, Obama was able to focus on the power play in the South China Sea. He gave his full backing to the Philippines in its pushback against China's island building in what it calls the West Philippine Sea. Here in KL, Obama reiterated that countries should stop building artificial islands and militarizing their claims in the disputed South China Sea. RC, what? Obama said this at a meeting between the United States and leaders of the 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations. But to anchor the US role as leader of Pacific nations, Obama pressed the benefits of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. He said, it's more than just a trade pact, it has important strategic and geopolitical benefits. He also said that it's a long-term investment in shared security and in universal human rights. He also said that the TPPA has the strongest anti-corruption standards compared to any other trade deal. In other words, it's amazing, we're all gonna love it. I think we all know that there has been a lot of pushback to this, whether or not it's going to be that great, whether it's going to be more pest or panacea, only time will tell. That and getting signatures on the page and pushing it through, I suppose. We've not got time to delve into it, but BFM, the radio station, has. You can check out our podcast there. You can also get a quick primer via our previous headlines video with Keith Kam, because we have other things to talk about right now. For Malaysians, US President Obama was not the only show in town, and in fact, KL was the venue of other bilateral talks that didn't involve us. Indian PM Narendra Modi and his Chinese counterpart Lee Chwi met on the margins of the ASEAN-India summit. Their talks were reportedly on terrorism as well as the global economic slowdown. Lee pointed to initiatives like Made in China 2025 and Internet Plus and India's Make in India and Digital India programs to underscore the commonalities of the two emerging world powers. The question for us then ASEAN is, aside from providing the venue for superpowers to come down and have big talk parties, how do we want to position ourselves in this emerging trans-Himalayan and pan-Pacific formations? What role are we going to play? Thanks for watching this week's headlines. A little bit of unfortunate news. This is going to be the last headlines episode of the year. Let us know if you miss us. Do tune in also into 89.9 if you're in the Klang Valley to get updated, or listen to our podcasts at bfm.my. Till then, have a great month ahead. I'll see you in 2016.